your home for high school football. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
So in the opening hour, we chatted with 5 coaches who are playing state finals on Saturday night. And we left out 4 because we're going to be covering them extensively Saturday because we're broadcasting their games live. Brick Memorial, Jackson Memorial, 4 o'clock from Rutgers University. Following that, Red Bank and Rumson Fairhaven. Bob Batters, our guy, will be at Rutgers all day on Saturday, and he's good enough to join us for a few minutes and talk about those 2 games. And Bob, in the case of Jackson Memorial and Brick Memorial, certainly teams that are really familiar with one another.
You could certainly say that. Both teams, obviously Class A South rivals. They met earlier this year. Brick Memorial with a 28-7 victory. They've met several times, obviously, over the years playing the same division. Met some times in the playoffs as well, and you go back to 2005, the last time they met in the playoffs, one of the epic playoff games of all time in short conference history, a 30-28 victory for Jackson Memorial on the final play of the game. So, yeah, it's safe to say these teams are pretty familiar.
Of course, how much different are they than the first time they met? Jackson was in a little bit of a tailspin. Clearly, they've turned things around.
Absolutely. I mean, if you talk about the difference from that first game till now, Jackson Memorial, almost a completely different team. At the time, their quarterback was the junior Danny Barker, who was playing solid his first year as a starter. He was injured, so they needed someone to turn to. At quarterback, they went with a sophomore for one game, and then they inserted Kyle Johnson, who was their outstanding senior wide receiver at quarterback. Really changed their offense from that traditional Jackson, multiple eye power look to more of a zone read look with Johnson and quarterback running the shotgun, and Mike Golick really as the feature back now, where him and Vinny Lee would really alternate series. They moved Lee out to wide receiver, and obviously that served them well because Jackson had that 3-game losing streak after starting 3-0. Fumbled a little bit down the stretch, but the playoffs hit, and you see what they've done so far to get to a sectional final. So Jackson, a different team offensively, certainly from the first time. Defensively, still an outstanding group, a top 10 unit in the Shore.
Bob, to me, the way I see this football game, it's going to come down to the defensive front of Brick Memorial versus the offensive line for Jackson. How do you see it, and will that play out?
Well, certainly, both these teams are going to run the ball. Brick Memorial running the flex bone triple option, running for over 3,500 yards this season. And as you mentioned, that's Jackson's bread and butter. They've thrown the ball even less since they've went to the zone read. Kyle Johnson's going to attempt maybe 5-6 passes a game. So you talk about where this team is going to be won, it's in the trenches. And you talk about the Brick Memorial defensive line, an outstanding group. The twin brothers, Anthony and Mike Nobile, Chris Hayes. You have 6'7" Justin Zuba in there as well. And a Jackson Memorial offensive line that has really gotten better as the season's gone on. They graduated such a tremendous group from the team last year. And Dylan Smith, their lone returning starter, was injured early and has barely played this year. So that group has gelled as the season has gone on, and they've been opening up some nice holes for Golick. So that's going to be certainly for Brick Memorial. You can stop them at the point of attack, create some second, third, and long. Jackson's not built now to just sit back and throw the ball. So, like as you said, Ed, if Brick Memorial can win that battle in the trenches, that's going to go a long way.
Bob, when you think about it, I think both of the games that we will do, most would regard as kind of coin flip type games. I don't know that you could come up with really a decided favorite in either game and not be able to at least argue it on the other side.
I completely agree. These teams are very even. You can make a case for either team in both these all-shore matchups to win, and I think that's going to make for 2 tremendous games on Saturday night. With what's on the line, obviously a state championship, but you have 2 A-South teams in Brick Memorial and Jackson, and then looking at that Red Bank Rumson game, the Battle of Ridge Road, as they call it. Those schools are 2 miles apart. Rumson's going for the 3rd state title in a row. Red Bank hasn't won in 40 years. And it really is that. It really is a coin flip. Those favorites, I guess if you technically want to look at it that way, Brick Memorial is the number 1 seed. Red Bank Regional is undefeated. But for anyone to say they know which way these games are going to go, I'd have to say they're lying, because you can come up with any number of scenarios with how these games are going to play out.
I think I mentioned at the top, Bob, that I think in terms of stories this year, Red Bank is the best story. It's the best scripted story from early September. I don't think anyone could have seen this kind of success in such a difficult conference. But, of course, for them, anything less than winning on Saturday will be a disappointment. And this is a Rumson program that truly is a program. I mean, as you said, going for their third straight, I mean, Rumson is accustomed to playing in December, that's for sure.
They are. And Rumson has kind of become what Manasquan had been. You're really in the early, even 5-6 years ago, where they consistently are in the playoffs every year, competing for division titles, competing for state championships. Brian Batchelor, this is his third year as head coach. They're playing for their third state championship. So that tells you right away what Rumson's been able to do. I mean, it took them a while to kind of get over the hump, and they finally did. I believe it was 5 years ago under Shane Fallon. He's now the athletic director at Homedale to win their first, and that really opened the floodgates. They've been excellent. And the one thing that stands out with Rumson is in title games, their defense under Jerry Schulte, their defensive coordinator, has been just unbelievable. They have shut down some great teams, some explosive players. The game against Weekley 2 years ago comes to mind. So, you look for them to certainly play great defensively. Red Bank, they are the story so far. 11-0 after 5-5 last year, missing the playoffs by, a couple power points. And now you look, they're one win away from really a historic season. So there's so many great storylines with these, 4 short conference teams playing against each other. I think that's what makes it even more fun. There's so many different ways to look at this. From a fan, as I am as well, as just a reporter, it really is awesome to be able to be a part of this on Saturday.
Bob, very conceivably the best player on the field could be Red Bank's Sadiq Palmer, the slot receiver / running back, tremendous defensive back. Would you agree with that?
I would. Sadiq Palmer has been incredible this year, and a lot of times there are players who have a lot of offers and they have potential, and you see what school they're going to, and maybe that doesn't translate on the high school football field right away. With him as a senior, he's been outstanding, and he's played his best in the biggest games for Red Bank. In the semifinal win against Ocean, he had all 3 touchdowns. He came into the season as a wide receiver, a returning first-team All-Shore wide receiver, and he's been great there. He's got 46 catches, over 650 yards, 7 touchdowns. They put him in at running back as well, and he has almost 400 yards rushing and 9 touchdowns. You add 5 interceptions to that. He's one of their top 5 leading tacklers on defense and safety, and he really has been the entire package for them this year. So that's a very balanced team, but at the same time, they also have that one superstar player, and in a championship game, to have a player like that is certainly huge.
That's Shore Sports Network football editor Bob Batters. Bob, we'll have coverage, as I mentioned earlier. We'll have reporters and photographers at all the games involving the local teams. Of course, we'll see you at Rutgers on Saturday, and it should be a fun-filled day of football for sure. And by the way, you can check out our Gold Coast Cadillac football picks on the games this weekend as Matt Harmon and I head into the weekend tied for first place. Bob's come on strong, and as we expected, Ed is in last.
Not so much.
Bob, we'll see you at Rutgers Saturday.
All right, guys, we'll see you then. Should be a great day of football.
It sure should be a great Saturday with 9 teams playing. By the way, next week on the website, we'll have, later in the week, we'll have our all-shore teams, offensive and defensive players of the year, coach of the year. Many of those things undecided because of all the action that's going to take place this weekend.
4.5-hour meeting, and we still haven't decided.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing we've decided. We're going to take a break and come back and talk with a couple of outstanding football players who cut their teeth in the Shore Conference and have continued to have success at Monmouth University. We'll do that after this. You're listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.
Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River is the ultimate sports bar. With 32 HD TVs, Water Street brings you all the action of every football game. Located right on the water, Water Street is the perfect place to enjoy the finest views of the shore. Whether you want to grab a few drinks with friends, catch your favorite game, eat a delicious meal, or enjoy live entertainment every Friday and Saturday nights, Water Street is the place for a good time. Located across from Huddy Park on Robbins Parkway in downtown Toms River. Visit them at bakerswaterstreet.com.
Your home for high school football. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
And we welcome you back here to downtown Toms River, the Water Street Bar and Grill on a Thursday night. Our final segment of the final show leading into the state playoff weekend of activity. We'll, of course, have 2 games for you coming up on Saturday. And these guys hoping to be playing some playoff football. At least one of them is. We got one old man and one kind of younger man. Joe Johnson and Mike Basile both here giving us some time. Standout career for Joe. Already retired now at Monmouth University, and Mike smack dab in the middle of his career, finishing up a sophomore year. Guys, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you, too.
I mean, I see you twice a week, unfortunately, in some way. Mike, appreciate you coming down and giving us some time. Let's talk about Monmouth football right now. You know, you guys obviously unique to the program, both being local guys. Joe, let's start with you. Having played all 4 years, 3 years as a solid starter, jumped in at that last couple of games as a freshman. Just your experience as being a local guy, being at Monmouth and playing.
It was an awesome experience all around. I mean, even looking at it from this perspective, how I'm back on this radio show, I mean, this is the type of thing that not a lot of people get to experience, especially being local. I think it's been awesome. We've recruited a bunch of other local guys, just like Mike, and I think we have a little brotherhood going, and I love it. You know,
I want to talk about that, and I think it is definitely an interesting kind of piece of this. I would imagine that you were an influence of Mike deciding to come, and at one point this year, 3 of the 4 starting defensive backs were Shore Conference guys. You were on one corner, Tymir Berry, who's a freshman from Toms River South, at the other, and Mike playing one of the safety spots. You kind of started it, led the way into Mike, and Mike, I would have to think for you helped get Tymir here as well.
Yeah, getting recruited, and when I first came here, and I saw all the Shore Conference guys that were coming into the class, and then talked to Joe a lot about it, and just coming here, it felt like. It's like I knew everyone that was there, so it was like a family when I first came in there, and it just helped the recruiting process. And same with Tymir, talked to him about it. I was like, yo, you need to come here, we have a good thing going with all the Shore Conference guys, and I think it worked out.
Go ahead, Ed.
Joe, I was just going to say you're scheduled to graduate, right, in May, 4 years, right?
Yep.
And tell us about your major and what your plans are for after graduation.
I'm going to graduate with my bachelor's degree in health studies with a minor in business administration. And then after that, I'm planning on going to law school. Wow. So we'll see what happens. I'm taking my LSAT this upcoming weekend. So we'll see what scores I get, and we'll see what doors open up from there.
Which, if memory serves me, when you came in, you were like some sort of molecular energy, bio, double major.
Yeah,
you kind of wised up somewhere along the way, right?
Yeah, it's a lot being a college athlete and dealing with the workload that comes with that, and then the workload that comes in the classroom. And I feel like I settled on a major that would fit what I wanted to do, and I think it helped me make my career choices moving forward too.
Mike, let's talk about what you guys did on the field this year. 5-6 overall, 3-3 within the league, and I think that's the one that you guys are all kind of hanging your hat on just a little bit moving forward. Second year in the Big South, which traditionally is one of the best football conferences in all of FCS football. Overall, I know the wins maybe not as high as you would have liked, but it did turn out that the year wound down on a pretty good note.
Yeah, and finishing the conference 3-3, and it's very good for us because moving forward, last year took a big step. There was 2 more wins from the year before, and I think going ahead, we know that we can compete in this league, and we have a chance to win this league eventually. And it's just a big thing for our program moving forward.
We should mention on the air with us right now, Mike Basile, sophomore safety up in Monmouth, former Brick Memorial standout, and Joe Johnson, who of course starred at Manchester, has just wrapped up his career at Monmouth. Both guys part of the All-South All-Conference team this year. Mike on the first team after the Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Joe on the second team this year. You guys probably can remember back, and Mike a little bit closer for you, Joe a little bit more far removed. Think back to these days of playing high school football. All these guys going into that last weekend of the season, lacing them up for one more time. Joe, I know I talked to you about this before the last Monmouth game. It was the last time you would put the pads on. And for a lot of these high school guys, if they don't have the opportunity to continue their career in college, it'll be the last time that they put the pads on. It is a special feeling.
Oh, definitely. It's a type of feeling that you don't get the chance to experience often. Especially at the high school level, you grew up with all these guys. You've been playing since the Pop Warner days when you were running around and had no idea what you were doing. Even up to to this point that happens still. But it's a feeling I think that everybody who's going through it, you just got to live it up. You got to live in this moment because you never know when you're going to get the chance to put the pads on again.
Mike, with Joe graduating this year, he was one of your captains on the Monmouth team. Do you see yourself as a junior next year and a third-year starter? Do you see yourself taking over the leadership capabilities of this team, especially on defense?
Yeah, definitely. Moving forward, I think Joe was our leader last year, and I think we need another guy out there. I've been out there for 2 years now, and I feel like I can step into that role. Definitely, that's something I'm thinking about, running for captain. So, I think just going in there with my experience and all the young guys, especially with Tymir as a freshman coming in, I think I can help him out a lot, make sure he knows what he's doing, and all for the other younger DBs and for even everyone on the defense. I'm going to try to work my best to get them to do their job.
Quite a few guys back on defense that saw multiple playing time.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys coming back. We had to move a couple guys down to the D-line. We had a lot of injuries and stuff, but everyone coming back, I think is going to be great. We get Darnell Leslie back, one of the best D-linemen, and then we get to move those guys back to the linebacker position where they normally played. So I think if we all can work together, I think we're going to have a good squad next year.
I talked, guys, the other day with Coach Callahan, just chit-chatting about some stuff, and he had mentioned to me how busy the next couple weekends were recruiting-wise. A lot of players coming into campus, those obviously looking to make their decision, probably some underclassmen coming in as well. How much do current players take a role in active recruiting to help guys make a decision to go to Monmouth? Joe, let's start with you.
I think it's everything. As awesome as it is to have a good relationship with the coaches, the guys that you're going to be playing with over the next 4 years are the most important aspect of that. You have to be comfortable coming into a new situation, being in the locker room, playing football with these guys, and going through that type of stuff together. I feel like, in my experience, everybody who's had a positive experience with their hosts and the older guys on the team, they've fit in very well.
Mike, would you second that?
Yeah, from my experience when I was getting recruited, Joe was actually my host on my visit.
And you still came?
Yeah, and that was like the biggest thing for me. I love the coaching staff and everyone there, but when I came to on my visit and I was hanging out with Joe and all the other short conference guys and even the other players that from out of state, it really felt like a family. And I think that's one of the big things that you look for when you're going to make your choice at a college or something, is getting along with the team, not just the coaching staff, but the team that you're going to be playing in the next 4 years of college football with.
I'm going to throw this out to both guys, but the first home basketball game is the 13th, okay? That's a couple of Sundays away. Now, I'm sure you know the notoriety that the basketball team has gotten the first couple weeks of the season, beating big-time schools like USC, UCLA, Notre Dame. I'm sure that will be a focus for some football recruits coming up there on the 13th. How will you guys handle that when they – first of all, I don't think you're going to have to say too much when they come into the Mac Center and see a packed house.
Yeah, I think the basketball team right now is going to be perfect for recruiting. They're getting national attention. Guys, we recruit all over the nation, and guys who haven't had a chance to see what we're about yet and are going to have the chance to come up for the visits in the next coming weeks, they have something that they know what Monmouth does. Right. So if they get the chance to come to one of these home games, I think it's going to be big for us.
Sorry, Ed. I think that's one thing that's important. Mike, you can comment on this. When there is success on campus, it doesn't matter what the sport is. Right. It all kind of feeds together. So if the football team has success, it helps other programs. Soccer has been good on campus. Field hockey's had a good run. Basketball now obviously getting their due. Some of the spring sports, the lacrosse, which is an up-and-coming sport. It's a community that you guys all have as student athletes. And from what I've seen, being there as long as I have, of course, everybody wants to be the team on campus, and I'm sure there's little rivalries that take place, but everybody does really support one another.
Yeah, they all do. And, like when everyone has success, it brings all the other teams together. So, I'm there supporting the basketball team, and I'm always there supporting every other Monmouth team that there is. And it just brings everyone together. It just makes us more as a family. And I think that's what people really like.
Mike, this question goes to you, and I know Joe's aspirations are to be a lawyer. Why do I feel that your aspirations are to play on Sundays? And I'm not putting any pressure on you, but I think that name, Basile, and Sundays go together.
You know, football's been my life for a while now. You know, I love playing football. I grew up playing football, and that, you know, that's always someone's dream as growing up. You know, you want to see someday you want to be playing out there on Sundays. But, you know, I don't like looking too much into the future right now. But, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can. You know, in the next 2 years, as I'm at Monmouth. You know, to get our team to win. You know, biggest thing right now is the next year coming up. So. Right now, I'm going to focus on that, but, you know, obviously, that is a big dream.
You sound like some of these high school coaches that we had on in the first hour. You know, finally, you know, they keep telling us throughout the year, it's one game at a time. We're not thinking about the playoffs. Well, finally, the playoffs are here. Some of them still won't talk about the game.
They're programmed.
They are programmed.
They're like robots when you
one
talk about
practice at a time, you know.
Guys, you know, one of the things that's obviously going to be real exciting, and Joe, I'll throw this to you. You won't have an opportunity to do it, but the news coming out at the end part of the season that hopefully at the start of the 2017 season there'll be a new stadium. You know, you've seen the transition from the days of the NEC to being an independent to now a couple years in the Big South. You almost get the sense that the last piece of the puzzle could be a brand new facility. It could take Monmouth from here to really the next level.
Yeah, I think the idea of the new facility has kind of been hanging over the head of Monmouth University athletics for a little bit now, especially with all the big changes that have occurred with the football program and changing conferences. The one thing that we've all been waiting for is we've been waiting for that new stadium. And when the news broke, I texted everybody. I was really excited for all the younger guys that are going to get to play in that stadium, and also just for what it means for the program as a whole. I mean, it's a huge step moving forward.
Mike, that obviously, I'll toss that to you, because if things stay the way that they should, at least, you know, from anyone that or anything that you could read, it would open the start of the 2017 season, which would be essentially your senior year. That would really be something special to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's something that I was looking forward to, and I really do look forward to for, you know, if it does come in that senior year, that would be great. You know, even for the younger guys coming out for the recruiting and stuff like that, it's great for them, and for them to, just for us as a program to make that step a little bit higher, you know, it's good for us, and I think that, you know, we get that, and we're just going in the right direction right now.
Joe, what has Coach Callahan meant to you, and why has he been the only coach that Monmouth has had?
Coach Callahan, he, besides just being an awesome coach, he's an awesome guy. I mean, if Coach Cal sees you at any point in the day, he's going to pull you to the side and have a conversation with you, asking you how everything is going. And I think for this program, he's a sign of stability, you know. A lot of things are changing. But Coach Cal's been spearheading it all, and it's awesome to see somebody who's worked so hard for this program continue to be rewarded for it.
That's why he's still there.
That's why he's still there, 23 years and running. Mike, you'll assume a leadership role on this team, captain or not. You'll be one of those guys that the team will really look to. For you, I know that the offseason probably hasn't totally started yet, but will once that second semester comes back in January.
Yeah, you know, I'm already in, you know, we try. Yeah, obviously after a long season, you have to take a little bit of break off, you know, let your body recover. But, you know, right when the off season hits, you know, we're going to be in there working hard. I'm going to be in there trying to get all the other players working hard, because I know I'm going to do my part. And I think that the off season that's huge. I mean, I take a lot of pride in what I do off season and, you know, preparation for anything. So, you know, I really think that I'm gonna have to have a key role in this year.
Joe, last one for you real quick before we let you guys go. How close is Monmouth football to making that next step to be a playoff team?
I guess you guys have to tune in next year for that one. I think we're right. I think we're right on the. I think we're right.
You're not a member of the. You're out. You're done. You can't say anything wrong anymore, guys. I appreciate you so much coming down. This was a great way for us to wrap up the show. Looking forward to the state playoff activity this week, but being able to spend some time with two local guys who have been through it all and still play locally at Monmouth. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
That is Mike Basile and Joe Johnson. Let's start our thank yous. Our final show, the crew here at the Water Street Bar and Grill. Ryan, our manager. Jamie, our normal waitress. Great job as always. Zach Collins back in the studios. Tom Tremblay here as our on-site engineer. For Ed Sarluca and Kevin Williams, I'm Matt Harmon. We will see you on Saturday. Championship games at Rutgers University, and you'll hear them live on the Shore Sports Network. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, guys.